Welcome to the Something in the Water podcast. My name is Desko Martin. We have,
Cracka.
and today we just have a lot to talk about, a lot of updates going on. One thing we really want to talk about is how busy we both been, right?
Yeah.
And so just going from there, what do you feel like has the most impact or what takes the most of your time?
I mean, I feel like just everything. There's so many different things that we got to do.
Yeah.
So first, let's address the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
The room. It is a pretty fucking room that we got going on
Yeah,
right
we
here.
we got a podcast studio going on.
Yes. Yeah. So it's super exciting. We got some decorations. We're in a new spot. We're using these cool mics.
We got a peanut butter couch.
Yes. The tables, everything. So what excites me the most is the fact that we actually started the podcast with none of this shit.
Yeah.
Where it was just filming in your girl's nail salon room and then doing some episodes.
Studio.
Exactly. So yeah, we started ugly. Advice to people out there, don't be afraid to start ugly. Start as ugly as possible because the uglier that you start, the more contrast you have in the before and after. So our before was, let's say it was, even our before was better than a lot of people.
Yeah, most, for sure.
Some people, they just set a cell phone over there.
Yeah. No
mics, no audio or nothing. And then they just start talking. Yeah. People can't hear a word that they're saying.
Hear the air in the background. You can hear people walking in the background.
Yeah. So that's exciting. The new setup, being busy. But yeah, what we were talking about earlier is basically you're always going to be busy.
Mm-hmm.
So we just make time. So my new mindset thing is just, let's put it on the schedule.
Put it on the schedule.
As long as it's on the schedule, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you got to put shit on the schedule. I'm big on doing the Google calendars.
Yeah.
Does your phone go off when I send you one of those?
It did.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Yeah. It automatically went on my schedule, my calendar.
Oh, sweet.
Yep. So when you sent that, when I pulled up my calendar, it was already there.
That's the solution right there.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So first, what's new? Our space. It seems like you're always.
Yeah, so we have a new space too. We're at the Naps building now. We have an office space.
When did you guys move in?
So I want to say it was the beginning of this month, and so we had people paint it. We have a bunch of desks already. I have my own office. I have a bunch of video equipment I ordered and in there. So right now we're just building. That's the main thing. I feel like if I was to explain what's going on right now, it's us being under construction.
Under construction?
Yeah. And I feel like it's the same thing with this podcast.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you're doing both of those at the same time, especially just when regular life is going on at the same time, you have to learn to really appreciate life and understand that you have to learn how to manage your stress levels, I feel like too, because it's easy to feel stressed.
Yeah. What's some things that you do that help with your stress?
Oh man. I do a lot of things. One of the things I feel like I do most is I like to really take time for myself and almost do like a meditation.
I need to meditate.
Yeah, sure. I don't know if that sounds crazy, but like if there's a lot going on, I'll just like tell either my girlfriend or myself, like, I'm just going to sit down for a second and take some time and think about everything I need to do. And then kind of at the same time, forget about everything I need to do and then come back to it.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's something I kind of do throughout the day actually. Or another thing is I write everything I need to do down. So let's say we're midday and I still feel like I have so much I need to do. All right, just a checklist of what I need to do and then just start from one.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
I've always been really big on writing shit down.
Yeah.
I remember back when I was like 18, I worked at GNC, the supplement place.
Yeah.
And I had this, I don't know what made me do it, or, like back then there wasn't even all this like self-help, self-improvement content and social media stuff out there. But for whatever reason, I bought this weekly planner. So like when you open it up on the left side, it'd be like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then on the right side, it'd be Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday. And I would just keep track of all of the money. That was the thing too. So like if I gave you $4, I'd write Desko Martin $4. If you paid me $100 for something, I wrote Desko Martin $100 beat. And I just would write shit like that down. And then also, this is when I was music artist days. So if I made a beat or wrote a song or recorded a song or shot a video or anything, like I would just keep track. So writing down. So over the last couple of years, I got really I love like Google Docs.
Yeah.
So I use a lot of Google Docs. Honestly, I have hundreds of Google Docs, and a lot of them are similar stuff. Like, let's say YouTube or content creation. I just have all this stuff on my brain, and it's like, we got to get it out.
Yeah.
So I would just open up a Google Doc and just kind of start with a clean slate and start writing everything down. But I feel like there's some sort of science to physically writing something down, because I like typing because I can type faster than I can write.
Yeah.
And I feel like my brain moves faster than I can write. So when I try to write down or do a brain dump, I get impatient with how long it's taking me to write the stuff. And I'm thinking like, I'm 15 lines ahead in my head, but I'm only writing like one down. So that makes me impatient. Stress, walking. I'm huge
That's a good
on.
one.
I probably do like 15 to 20,000 steps a day.
Sheesh.
So one is after I eat, I always like to do a 10-minute walk. I seen this guy named Stan Efferdine.
Okay.
Famous bodybuilder dude. And yeah, he's smart as fuck. And I seen multiple different interviews or clips, and he was just dropping all these gems, but he was huge on like the power of the 10-minute walk. Just as soon as you get done eating and like your blood sugar levels and insulin and all this different stuff, if you just take a 10-minute walk, it has all these benefits. So I do that after I eat. And then a lot of times with, we're creatives, we sit down and edit. Like we're sitting down doing a podcast right now. Before this, I was sitting down at the computer doing other stuff. After this, I'm going to be sitting down. So it's a lot of sitting. So I like to get outside and walk as much as I can. Plus with killing as many birds with one stone. So if I know that I'm going to call you, I'm going to go outside and go for a walk. And I'm going to be on the phone walking while I'm talking to you. And so just about any person that I call, I'm walking. When I'm on the phone with them.
That's funny you say that, because when I'm on the phone, especially when I have conversations with you on the phone, we usually talk for like, like a couple hours. So, but,
which is why we started this podcast, because we are fucking content creators. And so instead of there's so many people right now that their life is content galore, but they're just not documenting it, And so how my brain works is efficiency.
Yeah.
So I see the power in content. So I just try to think of how could I capture all of this stuff that I'm already doing and turn it into content. So, okay, my friend that whenever I talk to you, we do talk for about an hour. Okay, let's start scheduling that every week. And then that way, now we have content. We have a podcast. We can build an audience. We can, share things. And so, the power of content.
And it's funny you talk about walking, because when I'm on the phone with you, usually I'm pacing around my house. So usually, shout out my girlfriend. She's like, why are you walking around? But it's just like, I feel like when you're walking, it also gets you thinking.
For sure. Yeah. I remember there was some big industry guy that called me about a year ago with like a really big video opportunity. And I knew that it's like I talk better when I'm walking.
Yeah.
I almost feel like if I'm sitting still, I just feel not that I feel dumb, but it's like,
you feel stuck.
Let me walk and I can think and talk faster or something. But I was telling her like, yo, so-and-so's calling me, pull over. And we pulled over and I just went walking and I was on the phone and talking and everything. They came back to the car. It was like a 15-minute phone call. But
do you feel like it's easy to kind of bypass stress?
Fuck no.
Okay. So how do you manage that in real time? Like, let's say like just knowing, let's even say right now, let's say you have a bunch of things to do after this podcast. So like, how do you go about it in the way where you're not feeling actually stressed rather than managing, your time?
I think people get better at doing that with like meditating.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, I've never really gotten deep with it.
Yeah.
Because, our brain's a muscle. So just like working out, like the more bicep curls you do, the stronger your biceps get. So the more like meditation that you do, the stronger your mind gets.
Yeah.
I mean, even last night we had some stuff that I'll tell you about after this that happened here at the studio with like a booking, but I was out of town and I'm shooting a music video. And so I was I got to be present because I'm here to do a job and I'm not there. So I have no control or power about what's going on. And, my phone's going off or text messages. And so I struggle with it. So I don't think that I figured it out to where I could give other people advice, but from all of the research, when I'm trying to help myself, a lot of it goes back to like meditate, you know? So what made you meditate the first time and how old were you?
I don't know, to be honest. I feel like I get a lot of like calmness things from my mom. I don't know if that makes sense, but like
She chill.
yeah, like my mom's side of my family really teaches love and they teach balance and like calmness.
Good for them.
Yeah, so like I have a little brother and he's just like he reminds me of myself, but in the most calmest way. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if it makes sense, but my mom's always making sure like make sure you're grounding yourself. Make sure your feet are touching the grass today.
Do you do that?
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
But only because she reminds me, you know what I'm saying? So I not all the time, but I do want to do it more. But it's usually my mom will call me like, oh, did you put your feet in the grass today? Did you get to meditate today? Did you stretch? Or did you know what I'm saying? So I make sure like I at least do one of those things. And it's like, I know the health benefits to those and even at a stress level, but I need to do it more for sure.
Yeah, Alyssa, I'm thankful, but recently she's been getting into more of the like natural oils and stuff. She's been giving me some sort of like castor oil to put on my belly button when I go to bed at night. And she had this whole like, watch this TikTok video. And
they say
like,
it cures a lot, right?
When we're born, think about like our whole life and nutrients came from our umbilical cord, which is our belly button. Yeah. So I don't know, take that and run with it. But that means that motherfucker had some power
going on
at
right
one
there.
point. And then she was showing me all these different videos in like castor oil and what it does. And so my entrepreneur brain, because she was buying it off Amazon, it's expensive. So, and she's educated me on it. And so now I'm starting to use it. And so I'm thinking, okay, Alyssa, wife, content creator, husband, entrepreneur, how can we make this make sense real quick? Do me a favor, Google bulk castor oil, how to make castor oil. So we found a video on how to make it. So I started looking into the ingredients and, I ain't gonna say certain numbers, but it's profitable as hell. Yeah. So I was telling her, why don't you just come out with your own castor oil? And then how you just educated me, then I'm gonna start doing it. You film a piece of content and talk about, I found this video on TikTok about castor oil. So I tried it. Now I've been using it for the last 2 weeks. And the first thing that I noticed is, and this is true, she was talking about her sleep, like waking up feeling like she was knocked. So she did it with our daughter who's 11. And Maya said the same thing, that she slept really good. So then she had me start doing it. So it's been about like 5 days for me. And I do notice that I think normally every like 30 to 40 minutes, I feel like I wake up and I turn. I wake up, I turn, I wake up and I turn. And I still wake up, but maybe instead of like 8 times waking up throughout the night, it might be like 3. Okay. So that's one small benefit.
Some benefit.
Yeah. I mean, the list goes on and on, but I just feel like always, I don't know, try to like squeeze the sponge and get as much water out as you can. And so like with the idea of like, oh, castor oil and it has all the stuff. It's like, okay, how can you turn that into a sponge and squeeze it and get everything out that you can, instead of just buying it and using it and you're telling everyone about it, have your own product.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that too. Cause early in the conversation, I was thinking about, you remember when you had your own supplement?
Yeah, that was the shit, bro.
Yeah. It was a pre-workout, right?
Yeah. Extreme Pumps. Yeah. Should I tell that story or?
Yes. Gotta tell the story, bro.
Okay.
Cause I feel like, you're just saying the sponge. So I feel like, who comes out with their own pre-workout? You.
Bro, that's a unique thing. Cause a lot of people come out with, let's say it's a clothing line, but really they're just getting a really cheap shirt and then they're printing or ironing something on it and then they're saying they have a clothing line. But I feel like a clothing line is actually like something that stands for something. There's meaning behind it. There's like a feeling that you get. That's Finder's Fee?
Yeah, Finder's Fee.
Where could I get one of those hoodies if I want to get one?
At meetthefinder.com.
And then if the audience is watching and they wanted to like get in any type of incentive, is there a coupon code like Shark?
Yeah, we're going to come out with the coupon code. The coupon code is Shark. So meetthefinder.com, coupon code Shark.
There we go. Yeah. So with a pre-workout supplement though, I actually don't know any other person personally that has came out with a pre-workout. Never. So shout out to my brother, bro. He the difference with me and my brother is we both like money We
Yeah.
both are entrepreneurial, if that's the word. But I always have like big vision, long term thinking, and he's always like short, all these ideas on how to make a quick buck right now. Quick buck, quick buck, quick buck. But for me, it's always like I have an idea that's a 6-figure to 7-figure idea that'll take 1 to 3 years. Or I have this idea for a new service to offer, but it's going to take 3 to 4 months to really get it off the ground. Where my brother's always been like, I'm going to do this thing, and like this week, I'm going to flip and do all this stuff. So I remember he was buying the Jordan shoes from China when he was in like middle school.
Yeah.
And it kind of came back like business is solving your own problem. So his problem was, I like all these expensive ass shoes. I don't have any money. What can I do? So it led him to eventually looking up on Google and finding some plugs. And yeah, he had, and this shows even more entrepreneur stuff way back in the day, MySpace. So I made him a logo, and it was called Got Kicks 101.
Yeah.
And then I bought him a domain name so people could go to gotkicks101.com. I was like 18. He was like 13. And then it took people to his MySpace page. And then he learned how to like take the pictures of the Jordans that he was ordering. So he was getting these shoes for like $33 to $36. So obviously they're fake. But bro, still to this day, I'd take those all day.
Yeah.
I tell Malik all the time, I'm trying to get a bunch of fake Yeezys.
Yeah.
I'm not in a position to be running around out here with 3 or 4 different pairs of $400 shoes. I'm not there yet. I'd rather spend maybe $200 in multiple pairs
like
of
8
fake
pairs,
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're just shoes. They're going to get dirty anyways. I'm going to be working out in them, shooting video, all sorts of stuff.
That's how I feel with Forces. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
I buy a pair of Forces like at least every 2 weeks. And it's $116, $120.
Yeah. Now imagine if you knew someone that was like, yo, give me $60 and I got some. And then he was getting them like my brother for $33 to $36 a pair. See, in middle school, he was selling the China shoes and stuff. Then G-Shock watches were a thing.
Yeah.
And I think they were like $100 in the store. And so he was getting them for like $11 from China. Now, mind you, I had a friend that had one from the store that got it for Christmas. And we put up my brother's $11 fake China one, $100 one from like Macy's. They're damn near identical. The box was a little bit off, but like the same printing, the same design, but it just was, the colors were a little different. Who cares? So he was selling those for, I think like $40 or $50 or whatever. So he was making his money. Fast forward, he sold some other stuff in high school. I had always took a pre-workout and I didn't know anything about what was in it, but I just liked the fact of taking a pre-workout supplement, what it did. And I felt like I would have the best workouts and energy and whatnot. And I would just go to GNC or the store and I would just look at, oh, this one looks cool. I haven't took this, buy that. I take it when it runs out. I go back to the store. I'll take this one. But I never looked at the back to know if it was any good or not. And I remember there was a lot of dudes in the gym that would talk about certain pre-workouts and be like, I take 3 scoops of this one. I take 2 scoops of this one. And, you know, certain stuff is weak or whatever. So fast forward, my brother is 18 years old. He's working at GNC. So I'm like 24 at the time. And I had been doing entrepreneur stuff. I started a CD business. I started a recording studio. I started an online CD duplication business. I'm selling beats online. I'm doing the entrepreneur stuff. And he's working at GNC. We get talking about a pre-workout. And then he was saying, bro, a lot of these are weak. And then I was telling him, what you should do is look into ordering the actual ingredients of what stuff's in it pre-workout. So I gave him like a homework assignment. I said, look up the top 10 best-selling pre-workouts in the world right now, and then get a piece of paper and then write down what ingredients are in it and how much of each ingredient. And then also go to Google and then look up what is the actual clinical dose that you need to see the benefits of those ingredients and how much do you need? So for example, say one pre-workout gives you 250 milligrams of blank. Yeah. And then they promote all these benefits that you get from it. But to actually get the benefits, it's not 250 milligrams. You might need 750 milligrams. Yeah. So technically you need to do 3 servings to get the actual benefit from it. So he looked up everything, the clinical doses that you would need. And then he had this list of all these 10 best. And I said, now you're going to find a lot of things in common where maybe out of the 10, 100% of them all have caffeine.
Yeah.
Okay, so all of these are around 200, 200, 200. This one's at 300. So you need to be kind of right around the top 300. You want to have the top stuff, the strongest stuff. So then put together and make your own all-star mix of all the best ingredients. But then now how you crush the competition when they're underdosing, and like there was a certain ingredient that was called like citrulline malate or something, or it's supposed to help with blood flow or endurance or something. And I think you needed 3 grams of it to actually see the benefits. And a lot of other supplements, they're putting like 500 milligrams or like maybe 1 gram.
Yeah.
So I said, put 3 grams in it.
Yeah.
So
give them the benefits.
Give them everything. Yeah. So now you can advertise as like, this pre-workout is all clinical doses of every ingredient. So now you can say, I have the best working pre-workout on the market. What do you mean on the market? I looked up all the best pre-workouts. I put the best of the best and made my own all-star mix. And then I made it actual clinical dose, so it's stronger than the other ones. So he did that. And I said, well, then since you're so independent and you're not dealing with all these different companies and, you know, team, corporate company and all these employees, it's just you're 18 years old at the time. Now you can sell it for cheaper. So you have the cheapest pre-workout, the best pre-workout.
Best pre-workout.
You just got to focus on one more thing. You got to make it taste good. So he was ordering all these different ingredients, putting it together. And I remember it took like 8, 9, 10 months, but it was every day he would be in the kitchen. We were both living at my dad's house. And he'd say, hey, try this. And so I would try it and be like, oh man, it tastes awful. Like if you just licked your finger and touched caffeine by itself, and then it's like the most bitter tart. It's disgusting. Tastes awful. So you have to mask that. But then at the same time, you can't just fill it with like Kool-Aid and sugar to make it taste good. So you have to still have 0 sugar, but then make it taste and compete with. So it took forever. And then I remember one day after like about 10 months, he called me and was like, I figured it out.
I got it.
I had dad try it. I had, this person, you got to get here and try this. And I tasted it. And I was like, holy shit. It tastes amazing. It tastes like some Gatorade, Kool-Aid type of drink. So I said, now you got the best pre-workout, the cheapest pre-workout. So it's the most valuable and it tastes better than all the other ones. You're out here. Sky's the limit. And so that was the days where I was obsessed with the show Shark Tank.
Yeah.
And I'm watching all these episodes with these guys are investing in stuff. So I was investing, and for me, it was almost 75% of the money that I had. So I just had shoebox money. But it was my brother. And I remember I told him to apply for a loan. And I remember he had this meeting with the bank where he was going to ask for a loan to do this pre-workout stuff. And he knew he needed probably like $5,000 to $10,000. But he had the meeting with the bank and then they said no. And I could just tell that he like
the motivation.
It was just like, I didn't get the money, so I can't do any of this. I don't know what to do. And I told him that I would give him the money. And so I did that. And I remember the first month it came out, he had got it in like 10 different local gyms.
Wow.
And he's 19 years old.
Yeah.
Made his own pre-workout, got it in 10 local gyms. And so what we were doing is it was 40 servings for $40. It cost around $10, $11, $12 or so to make the container. And then he would sell it wholesale to a gym for around $25, $28, $30. And then they would sell it for $40, $45 and they're profiting. But they would have to buy 10 containers up front. So here's this 19-year-old that's still profiting 20 something bucks on a container, but with 10 containers at a time. So he's making $200, but then 10 different gyms. So that's $2,000.
Yeah.
He's out here. And then plus all of his friends, they're working out, they're taking pre-workouts. Like, don't waste your money on that pre-workout. You know me, I'm your friend, and I have my own pre-workout.
And I did the studies on everything.
Yeah. So it was really fun. And it was maybe about a year that I was involved. And so in the beginning, it was 100% him.
Yeah.
It was his business. And I knew how much I could help him, but I knew that if I just offered my help, he wouldn't appreciate it. So I kind of had to let him go out there and, bump his head a few times. And it was, I still remember he was like, so I don't know how he worded it, but basically he asked for my help.
Yeah.
Like, you want to help me? And so I was like, okay, do you want to be 50-50 partners? Yeah, okay. Here we go. But we're living together, and he was in college, and he had a girlfriend, and he was doing college baseball, and he was still like lifting weights and shit. And then with the pre-workout stuff. So a lot of his time was occupied, where me, I'm like an adult out of school. And it seemed like I was more excited about the shiny new pre-workout business versus like my existing Cracka in the studio and the CD duplication stuff. So I was really excited about it. Plus the upside, I remember with CD duplication, I seen that there was about tens of thousands of people searching for CD duplication. At the time, that was kind of like the most of my income every month came from CD duplication. And then when I looked at how many people were searching for pre-workout, it was in the millions of people. So millions of people every single month were searching for his shit. And then all I could think about is his shit's better than theirs. Yeah. It's cheaper than theirs. It tastes better than theirs. Like, let's hit the ground running. Yeah, this is it. I think this is the biggest opportunity that I have on my plate. And the final straw for me, it was just, we had different
creative differences speeds. And
not really creative. It was kind of like, let's say with this podcast, if I was ready to be like, yo, I want to do weekly episodes, daily clips everywhere, blah, blah, blah. And you were like, or we could just do one every couple months or something.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So every time I talk to you, I'm like, yo, let's get together. We're going to do this. We're gonna, and you're like, yeah, or we could just do one next month or something.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So that was the huge problem where I'd be at the gym.
It's almost like who wants it more.
I wanted it way more than he wanted it. So that's the whole, like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So, I mean, 19-year-old with the greatest opportunity in the world in his fingertips, and then an entrepreneur older brother invested too financially and, you know, emotionally and everything. So I remember I would be at the gym and I'd have these little Ziploc pre-workout bags that we'd put a scoop in the little Ziploc and then, yo, you take a pre-workout? Hey man, try this. You know, my brother, he started this, it's Extreme Pumps. Give them a sample and people would take it. They'd be like, oh, that was awesome. You know, where can I get some? Boom. They would. So he would get home and I'd be so excited with all these stories, like almost like a dog when they're waiting for their owner to walk in the house and then their tail's going crazy.
Like,
and then
they just, all these people.
I would like bombard them right when he walked in the door. I'd be like, oh, I was at the gym today. I talked to 3 Jack dudes. They said they're down for photo shoots. I gave samples to these 5 people. These people are going to order one tomorrow. This person said they want fruit punch. And he would be like, go to his room and like shut the door, like almost in my face. Like I was just doing that to him. And so then fast forward, it's been about a year. He had made, you know, some thousands of dollars selling the supplement and stuff. I was in Atlanta and I was actually at one of those like real life Shark Tank type investor guy's house. And he didn't know I was there with a friend. Shout out to Jay Easy. He's a music artist, one of the first music artists I ever worked with. And he had got invited to this guy's house. When we got there, there was like some Amish people that walked out the house. And what had just happened was they wrote up a script for like a documentary or a show and they pitched it to him. And he invested. Like he said, yes, they shook hands, they were leaving. And then we got there. So I was like, oh, wow, he just closed the deal. That's cool. I was just there to hang out with my friend. And then the guy is a rich millionaire guy. And he said, like, you know, young man, tell me about yourself. So I started saying, I go by Cracka. Oh, Cracka. And I was saying, I started doing music, this, talk about CD duplication. I'm telling him about these different things. And, you know, he was still interested. And then I said, I like entrepreneurship. And for example, my brother started this pre-workout. So then I told him the whole story that I just said. And that was the thing that got his attention. And so he's like, what's the next step? And the next step was those like stick packs where you can tear the top and dump it in a water bottle. That was the next step. But at this time, the places that we found, you had to get 1 million of them. And they were only like a couple pennies a piece, but you had to get 1 million. So it was like $20,000 that we needed, plus all of the ingredients for 1 million of those. So it was up there. Like he needed like $100,000, $150,000. I told him, my brother, I helped you out with the, you know, a few thousands of dollars, but I don't have the hundreds of thousands of dollars that you need right now. You need the investor. This guy was sold. he was like, yeah, I'm in. I want equity. I'll give you my email, send me the business plan, and we'll talk.
Wow.
So I was like, oh shit. Called my brother. I said, here's the deal. I just left this guy's house. He said he's gonna do the money. All you have to do is make a business plan. I already looked up how to make a business plan on YouTube. I found 10 videos that I'm gonna send you. Each video is less than like 10 minutes long. Like, you have to make this business plan. You can't wait a week. You can't wait 2 weeks. Like, he's interested right now. He's probably going to talk to a lot of people between now and tomorrow, the next day.
Mm-hmm.
You have to send this to him tomorrow. Period. He said, okay. I flew home, asked him the next day, did he send it? He said, no, we live in the same house. It's my brother. So now, knowing that excitement, that lack of interest, so now when I'm walking to the bathroom, walking past him to go pee, it's this awkward, like, did you fucking make the business plan yet? Like, I told you yesterday, you still haven't done it. And then all I can think about is extreme pumps, extreme pumps, extreme pumps. And so I started thinking to myself, okay, let me try to just move at his speed. I won't bring it up again until he brings it up. But then I learned about myself is anytime I'm involved with anything, like, I can't not think about it. Yeah. So this podcast.
It's communication too.
Yes.
Especially with working with other people.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I was trying to think like, okay, I'm going to just do me. I'll go back to doing all the Cracka stuff, but I couldn't stop thinking about it because I was still involved with it. And then I knew that I had publicly put it out there that I was, a co-owner of it and stuff. And so I wanted to keep that momentum that I had built up. And so if I were to slow down and stuff, that would reflect on me, even though you can't say to the public, hey, by the way, I'm still trying to go hard, but my business partner doesn't want to go hard. No, they don't know all that stuff. So after like 2 weeks of very, very awkwardness, a lot of animosity building up, that's when I realized I can't have anything to do with it. The only way that I can stop thinking about it is I have to like close it. I have to shut that door. So I said, you're my brother. I love you. I don't like this awkwardness that we have going. I can't have anything to do with extreme pumps. I think that me and you were trying to move at 2 different speeds. I think it's great. There's a lot of opportunity there, but I have to go back to doing what I was doing before with all my Cracka stuff. And, I need to make money and pay bills. So I just want you to know that.
So it ended.
That's where it ended.
Dang.
And so he still did it to that initial, right when he launched it, there was a lot of people at the local gyms we were going to that were buying the containers. And it doesn't like scientifically make sense for them to just go back to GNC and buy a different one because they were taking the best one.
Yeah.
So they still kind of every couple months would so he had a lot of like lifetime value of his customers because they took his extreme pumps for 2 years, 5 years, 6 years, 4 years. But as far as like expand, like I was ready for him to drop out of college. Yeah. We're going school to school. We're touring the country. We're going to make millions of dollars. Like your life's going to change this year. But that happened. And so that was just a lesson that I learned with entrepreneurship. And that's the extreme pump story.
Man, I didn't know all that. Do you feel like it would ever come back? Do you feel like you could ever work with him again or anything like that?
No.
What's the balance that you feel like needs to happen to be able to work with people on things?
I also learned too, through other entrepreneur journeys and ventures that I had, that I think by default, we just assume to go in business with someone that should be 50-50.
Yeah.
And then all of my research in the last few years is like, no, it actually shouldn't be 50-50. Because whenever it's 50-50, then it could lead to animosity because
who's doing the most work?
Who's doing more?
Yeah.
There's this constant battle of like, bro, I just did this, this, and this. What did you do?
Yeah.
So I don't believe in 50-50 for one. And then two, I think it's really, really important to like clearly black and white define someone's role and responsibility. So with Royal Legacy Clothing, quick plug.
Yeah. Go ahead. You got a coupon code? I
got a coupon code.
Okay.
So if you guys are interested in supporting Royal Legacy Clothing, go to royallegacyclothing.com and use coupon code CRACK for a discount. I don't know what it is off top, but yep, you get to save some money, you get to support.
Yeah.
Greatly appreciate it.
Do we have a hoodie here? Do we have a hoodie here somewhere?
Not here, but all over the website. You guys will see it.
You're gonna start seeing it. Yeah, you're gonna
shirts.
start seeing all our stuff online and just on the podcast as well.
But yeah, when we started that, the first like 6 or 7 years of it, it was kind of, hey, he ships some of the orders, I ship some of the orders. I do the social media, he does the social. It was kind of like we both did everything.
Yeah.
And then I learned, because a lot of times it's like, if you get along with someone and they have similar interests as you, then you feel like, oh, let's go into business together. But if we have the same strengths and the same weaknesses, that's not smart. You should actually go into business with people that maybe you wouldn't see yourself hanging out with, or maybe you still see yourself hanging out with, but like completely different skill sets.
Yeah.
So the best example is I have a friend named Ryan gets excited to map out customer journeys when it comes to emails, to where it's like the person gets the free thing, they get their email. Then day one, they get this email. Then after a week, they get this email. And then if they open it or don't open it, then they get, like, he maps that stuff. That stuff causes me so much stress and frustration. I absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
Like, I'd pay hundreds of dollars to not have to do that ever again, but I know it's important. So he's the perfect person to hire to do that. So yeah, it's find people with different strengths, you're the content guy, right? With our space, but Mikey's not the content guy, right?
No, exactly. I would say he's the proposal guy. He's
really good at proposals.
Informational guy. You know what I'm saying? And then I feel like we kind of have this joke, but he tells everyone, like Martin, he makes us look good. You know, he makes us look like we should be looking. So, and then I'm always like, well, you go out and get us the contract.
Exactly. So you have a role that's super important. He has a different role that's important. But imagine if it was like, yo, you get some people to come in some meetings and whatever, and then you tell him, all right, yeah, you shoot some of the content. Yeah, it's like, it gets messy.
Yep, you're right.
So that's a thing that I learned is like very, very, very different roles and responsibilities. Yeah. And then what I learned about myself is in a lot of businesses, you have a CEO and then you have a COO. CEO is better at thinking of ideas and directions and like leading the charge, but not so good at actually doing the stuff. So like CEO is perfect at coming up with the steps of like, all right, step one, we got to do this. Step two is this and this and this, but not so good at actually like, all right, now I'm just going to focus on doing these things. Yeah. So that's when you have a COO who's really good with and disciplined with just getting shit done. That's the perfect description of a COO, is like the operations guy. They just get shit done. And they're good people skills. So usually like COO also does like management or like talking to the team members and stuff. And that's what I learned with the recording studio. At one point there was like 5 different guys, and sometimes like 2.5 months would go by and I'd realize I'm so busy doing all these different things. I'm like, I haven't even talked to these guys in 2.5 months. Like I'm the boss or whatever. I suck at managing, like management, people skills. And yeah, so I just learned, well, that's why there's different, like a team, you have different positions. A business is a sport. And so your crew is your team. Each person has a different position, a different role.
Do you feel like working with other people, just different businesses, do you feel like you would like to play the same role in all of those ventures?
I think that's what makes the most sense, is because once you get to a certain age, you get to know yourself more and more self-awareness. And then you realize certain things that you're really good at and like kind of like your unfair advantage. So for me, the perfect scenarios, you allow people to work in their zone of genius. So if my position on any team was like managing the people day-to-day stuff, like I would suck at that role. But if I had a role that was more of like marketing, CEO, content side of things, oh yeah, I'm an asset now. And so I think that's the best cases. Like I reached out to Malik and different people about, if all you were to do is one thing, what would that one thing be that would make you like feel like it's not even work? And so the best scenario is now you offer them a job to just do that. Yeah. And then the things that they hate doing, you find someone that enjoys doing those things. So like the perfect example is like you got people that shoot videos and content and they just love being around people and shooting and shooting and shooting, and they're down. Like I know I could hit Malik up late at night, be like, I got some content ideas. You down to film? Yeah, I'll pull up. Like he's an extrovert. He likes being around. He likes getting out the house and being around people and mingling and shooting shit. Yeah, he's down to shoot content for hours and hours and hours. Now when it comes to editing, not so strong. Even with myself, like I have to really, really force myself
be able
to
lock in
and do that. But then there's other people out there that are super introverts that don't like being around people, not interested in shooting shit, but they would love to just sit by themselves. Just send me it, man. I just, I'm busy. I just want to sit here. I'd love to just edit. So now if you're building a team, it's like, get the extrovert guy that loves shooting, get the introverted guy that loves editing, team them up, and then everyone's happy.
Yeah, that's kind of cool that you think about it in that way. For me, I'm just sitting here thinking about myself. I think I play different roles.
What are some of the different roles that you play?
I think all the same. Creativeness, like creative wise, I'm in every venture I'm in that same role. But I notice like, I think it depends for me on culture, like what type of culture it is. So like for our space, I like shooting because I like doing community work. I like being out in my, in my own environment, in my city, trying to uplift people. But then I feel like I work with, other companies, for instance, like it might be a techno event and stuff like that, where I don't want to shoot anything, but you could send me the footage. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, environments, I think. So I think it's funny like that where like I'd rather not shoot a wedding, but you can send me the footage. You know what I'm saying? But I'll go, be outside somewhere and, try to help somebody, boost somebody's, company that's local in the area or something like that,
Out of all the different things you do, which things do you enjoy the most?
I don't know. I would say really, I love working with people. So I think that's the main thing. And then the second part of that is creativity.
Do you like being around people more or being alone more, or what type of balance is that?
I like being around people more. I would say when I want to get work done, I like to be by myself because I feel like it's easy. I'm so like, I know like you said, your disadvantages, and I think it's very easy for me to get off track. Like we could start talking about something totally left field and it's over. We don't waste 2 hours. So
Debner called this the ADHD podcast.
Yeah, for real. And that's what, it's crazy because just working around you and being around you these couple times just the past week, I noticed that we're like similar in that way where I think everybody here, to be honest, where if we talk about something else, we might not get the initial thing we're working on done right away. And
so, I remember the one night you were here, I was getting you situated with like recording in the studio.
Yeah.
And then you were asking me a question, but then at the same time I was downloading the app to install the security cameras.
Yeah.
And then I'm like reading that. And then you asked me to do something. And then I like stopped doing that and was looking the thing
And then
up.
you were supposed to send an email. And I was like, you send the email? You're like, oh,
bro,
yeah.
way too much stuff going on right now. Let's just focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah.
But that's where like, if you're alone, it's almost like, I'll be back in 5 minutes. I'm going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where, time management comes in and writing stuff down and stuff like that. Cause I think as you get older, you start to really learn yourself and know yourself and know where you're most helpful at and where your weakness is going to be at with being in a group or working with somebody. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
What about the people that don't know? I think the easiest way is to know what you don't like.
Yeah.
Like for anyone that is lost, because with my wife, Alyssa, a lot of times when I talk to her and I'm like, what do you want? And she doesn't really know. And so the easiest way that I found is like, okay, let's think of the opposites. Like, what don't you want? And then she started with, I don't know. And I was like, okay, do you want to be a super fat, overweight person? She's like, no, I don't want that. And I said, okay, so what would lead to that is like, if you don't do anything, then that's the future for you. So part of your activities has to be into like dieting, nutrition. You got to exercise, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so put that on there. Now, do you like it when you create a piece of content and you put it out there? How does that feeling, or do you hate that? She's like, no, I always feel good doing that. And I said, okay, so would you hate it if a year went by and you didn't post one thing on social media? She's like, absolutely. So I said, okay, you want to be a creator then. So I was just helping her kind of think of opposites to figure out the thing that you want.
Yeah. Also, I think finding your purpose early too. So like you said, things that you don't want. And then I also feel like if you kind of like know, or you kind of have a feeling of what direction you want to go within knowing your purpose, I feel like that's something you could build onto very strongly. That makes sense. 'Cause when you don't know what you want, it's kind of easy to be lost and easy to not be able to build yourself or build on anything. There's basically no foundation, I feel like, when you don't know what you want to do.
Yeah.
And so it's, stuff like that, trying to figure out what you don't like or where you want to go. It's the building blocks.
Hey, and if you feel lost at all right now, you're perfectly fine, because for me, it's like a few times a month, I get lost in the sauce where I'm just like, bro,
man,
what am I doing right now?
Am I doing whatever I'm doing right now? Is it the right direction?
And I always try to think of like, just with so little time, it's kind of, I'm aware of, I still need to do this and this and this, but it's like, what out of those things, what should be the priority right now? Like, what one of these things are like, still get them done, but worry about that later. That's not like urgent. But yeah, so that's all good, because you see, we're still making progress.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm lost in the sauce a handful of times a month.
Me too.
So it's all good.
Yeah, we still making it work, man.
Yeah, that's a good note to leave off on. Thank you guys for tuning in to the podcast.
Yeah, Something in the Water podcast. My name is Desko Martin, and this is
Cracka. Make sure you guys subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify or any other streaming where you can leave a review, please leave a review.
Please leave
Screenshot that bad boy. Yep. Tag us on Instagram.
Yep.
We got IG page.
At Desko Martin.
Yep. And Cracka_lack.
Yep. And please leave comments of any book recommendations as well. I feel like I'm always, at least, I know myself, I know Crack, we're always trying to look for new things to read or just gain information on. So if you have any cool books, let us know.
There we go.
See you later.